Essa Faal is our guest. He's in the studio. Thanks for being early and punctual.
Thank you, Peter. Thanks for having me. On Coffee Time with Peter, I have been served with coffee, but not coffee with Peter. But all the same, thank you very much, my brother, for having me.
If it wasn't for this appointment, this rendezvous, where would Essa Faal be at this hour?
At this hour, I would have been with bereaved members of the Sobeya-App party. I take this opportunity to express my sincere condolences to Mbye, who's the Deputy Secretary General of APP Sobeya. Her father answered the call of the Almighty yesterday afternoon. Funeral arrangements are on course, and he's due to be taken on to the next path today at 10 a.m. at a burial in Birkama.
May he so rest in peace.
Indeed.
Essa Faal is with us for the entire hour, but of course, in between, we have other things to do. I'll bring you the newspaper front pages right after this.
Looking for an establishment where value for money and unrivaled services with admirable turnaround time is guaranteed? The Port of Banjul is the perfect place for you. A vital gateway for trade offering connections to numerous global destinations. With improved infrastructure combined with a flexible tariff, the Port of Banjul remains a vital node in maritime trade. Along with its dedicated workforce, efficient service delivery, technology,
Annual Cultural Festival, a true reflection of Gambian values, tolerance, and hospitality, according to VP. And Information Ministry initiates internship program for journalism students. The front cover of The Point reads this morning, Barrow promises support to strengthen media. Inmates lament struggles with bad healthcare and other issues. GRA's Dabo hailed as pivotal figure in Gambia's economic transformation. VP hails Banjul Festival as unique in reflecting broader West African heritage. And the editorial, Good Morning, Mr. President, opinionizes on the government and the media as partners in development and Gambia-Senegal relations. Now, Foraya's front page. Farmers still reluctant to sell their groundnuts at Secos. Artificial oyster production, a game changer for sustainable seafood in the Gambia. Domestic workers receive wages as low as $1,500 only, says President. NAO says patients of substance abuse cannot, or rather account for 58% of MCH. COVID-19 fallout. Lotto Gaming Gambia lays off 50 employees. And in its editorial, Foraya warns the foot soldiers of the Ghana trade should put their house in order. Let's take a look at the front cover of The Voice. Barrow says The Voice was first to publish news story about his candidacy in 2016 poll. NPP debunks allegations of fraud in 2021 election. President Barrow calls for strong media-government relationship. CA's leadership accused of deviating from party's agenda. Charm says UDP will never recompense people's efforts and sacrifices. Mopse unveils nominees for National Teachers Prize Award 2024, and GID clears documents backlog. Finally, the Standard. Barrow says media is government's strongest partner. Spain arrests captains who killed 4 migrants on a boat from Gambia. NAMS least regarded by Gambians, according to Afrobarometer. NAMS to get $81.8 million in allowances in 2025. I think we should all try to become a NAM. Macky Sall steps down from his APR party. And that was your first look at Monday's newspapers. Our thanks to Foraya, The Standard, The Voice, Gambia Daily, and The Point. National Assembly members, over $80 million in allowances.
Well, Peter, this is why I call the system a rigged system. It's yekalante. You know, when I made that pronouncement, I was attacked left, right, and center, including by those who are supporting the judges. But let's look at it. The president caused his salary to be augmented up to $500,000 a month, tax-free. He doesn't pay rent. He doesn't pay for fuel. In fact, about 30 or 35 million have been voted for fuel and lubricants. He doesn't pay for his medical bills. He does not pay for anything. We pay him $500,000 a month. Then the next thing, they move to the Speaker and the National Assembly. The National Assembly, the Speaker is given a salary pack of about $19 million for every 5 years. That includes a gratuity of 125% of the annual salary. Oh, wow. It's nice to be Speaker. But it is Yekalante. Then the next group of people for the Yekalante is the judges, the judiciary. They too have to have their fair share. And they provided a framework that would enable them to pay the judges almost 150 to 200,000 a month, because already a lot of them are on 100,000 or thereabout. So with all the packs that are going to come in, they would be at least over $100,000. I have no problem with the judges' salaries being augmented. They deserve it. They do the hard work. But my problem is the fairness in the system. How could anyone justify paying the president $500,000 and then you pay his driver, who's responsible for his security whilst he's traveling within the country, is paid $5,000? He pays no bills. This person on $5,000 would have to pay rent, would have to feed his family, would have to buy medicine. How on earth can we justify that? This is why I say that we need to rebuild a Gambia that is anchored on morality, a Gambia that is anchored on fairness. We have to have a just society. What we have is a skewed society, skewed in favor of those at the top. And this is a recent phenomenon. They have just changed the whole architecture to benefit themselves at the expense of the Gambian people, the people who work hard for the tax that is being paid by Gambians and businesses to build that national cake that they sit in parliament and this any which way they want. It is sad. It is unjust. We have to change this system.
Essa Mbye Faal is our guest for the whole hour. It's coffee time with Peter Gomez. He's just warming up, trust me.
Hello. If I own a business account with Trust Bank, how can I pay salaries to my employees to other banks?
Kindly send us an instruction through your corporate officer, that's your relationship manager. Send the instruction through a hard copy and we will kindly process for you. It is easy, it is simple. We will need few information from you. Each customer's name, the BBAN, and the bank it needs to be sent to. The BBAN should be complete and it should be in 18 days. Please kindly forward this and then it will be processed the same day and all the funds will be credited in other banks as well. Thank you.
It's 8:30 in the morning on Monday, the 30th of December 2024 in the Gambia, and the program is Coffee Time, and I'm drinking coffee this morning with Essa Mbye Faal. One of the announcements there relates to taxing entertainment events. Do you think Gambian tax money is wisely spent by the government?
No, I don't think so at all. The Gambia is shackled by a culture of wasteful expenditure and mismanagement of public funds. That is what we have in the Gambia. It's a slash and burn economy. You tax and spend, but we don't spend wisely. Instead of prioritizing spending on the needs of the people, the masses, we are prioritizing spending on those at the top. And the budget, even though it is the spin doctors are touting it as the best budget Gambia has ever produced, I have never seen a government that goes out on the offensive promoting a budget like it's being done today, simply because the budget is the worst budget ever produced by this country. And let's go through the numbers. $100 million is reserved for the president on his travels. Do we need to spend that money on presidential travel? Let's look at the waste that recently happened at the UNGA. A small country like Gambia, it's a beggar economy. Every year we have billions of dollars in deficit. We go around passing the hat for donors to give us money to balance the budget. Yet we go to UN General Assembly with over 80 people. This is a political reward. This is political patronage to satisfy party supporters. But it was not in service of the Gambia government. I worked at the UN, at the United Nations. I was a counselor for the Gambia permanent mission. And I sat at the UN Security Council when Gambia was most needed in the world, because we were at the Security Council. Never did we have that size of a delegation. This is absolute waste. Look at Meet the People's Store. This is legalized waste that is given to the government. In 2020, how much was approved? I think it was 6 million. And how much was spent by the government? 20-something million. In 2021, they spent 40-something million. And in 2023, 10 million was approved for Meet the People's Store. The president spent $61 million, 61 million of taxpayer money just to go around and meet people in the country.
So you're suggesting the 50 million allocated for next year, 2025, is unrealistic?
Absolutely unrealistic. This is your national Mbye festival. I cannot call it any other way. The whole essence of Meet the People's Store is supposed to be a solemn program where the president goes around the country and meets the people and discuss issues of concern to those people and those areas. But what we see is a national Mbye festival wherein they gather, slaughter cows, and eat and launch a political campaign to further entrench themselves in power. That by itself is illegal, is unconstitutional, because the Constitution does not allow taxpayer money to be used for political campaign.
The UDP leader, Dabo, says if he becomes president, he will streamline it. He will narrow it down, and he will call it a listen to the people, not to go there and politicize the whole event. If you became president, what would you do with the Meet the People tour?
It would be a period of soul searching. It will be a period of consultation. It will be a period of listening to the people, such that the policies of the state would be tuned around the needs of the people. It should not be a festival to just waste money, to have a convoy of 80-something gas guzzlers spending money unnecessarily. This is supposed to be a solemn occasion wherein we soul search and look at the problems and find solutions. But this is not looking for solutions. This is not even trying to identify the problems. What they do is go around and politic and try to sell the president's agenda so that the president could be voted for again. And that is the illegality in the whole thing. You take a legal activity and turn it into something illegal. And that's what they do. And the test is, look at 2021. It was an election year. They spent $45 million out of 6 million that was approved.
So what do you reckon they will spend in 2025, which is a year?
Well, already, the padding has been done, because what's been asked for in Parliament, I think, was 50 million, and what was approved was 45 million. For heaven's sake!
Do you think they will only stop at spending 45?
No, the trend is when one is approved, you spend 500%. So 500% really of 50 million would take us maybe to 500 million. So we don't know what is going to happen. But this is the kind of waste that I am decrying every day. Our hospitals are poorly equipped. Our educational system is terrible. Kids are failing exams by more than half of those who sit to the exams. The youths have no opportunities other than to go to the parkway, even though they know that it's Barcelona or Barsaha. And they prefer Barcelona or Barsaha to staying here without opportunities. We are subjecting Gambian workers to the indignities of poverty. We are forcing our police to accept bribes. We are forcing civil servants to be corrupt. They are all victims of the system because the system is not taking care of them. The system is only taking care of those at the top. How could anyone even justify? Look at the money they spent on the vehicles for the OIC, $15 million, 1 ton waste. Compare that with Jammeh, who chose to hire vehicles for 53 African heads of states. In this particular instance, how many heads of states showed up? 5. And you spent $15 million. This is waste. That's why I call it a misappropriation or misprioritization, for want of a better word, of the meager resources that we have.
On the issue of low wages for civil servants, I suppose you heard about the is it 70%, progressive increase of salaries for the civil servants?
But that is
something, isn't it?
That is nothing.
Nothing?
That is nothing. They're playing on people's minds. Okay, and let's look at it. The president was earning something like 200 and something. They upgraded it, bam, to $500,000. If someone earns $3,000 and you give them a 30% increase, that is a $1,000 increase, and the person would now earn $4,000. What is $4,000 in today's Gambia? The bread basket is at least $18,000 a month. If you don't pay a Gambian $18,000 a month, you are subjecting them to acute poverty.
Wow, so living wage is $18,000 per
Yes,
month.
and we could do the maths. A reasonable 2-3 bedroom house would cost you $8,000 a month. A bag of rice, good rice, would cost you $3,000. You're already $11,000. You haven't eaten yet. You haven't paid school fees. You haven't paid transport to go to work.
And you haven't even sorted Mr. Nawek out.
Exactly. And Mr. Nawek nowadays surcharges you. The moment you put in your cash power, they take away money. They take away money from it. I don't even know whether that is legal.
Why? Why would they take money away from it?
That's what happens. If you put in $500, it goes 500, then it goes down to say maybe 350 or 400.
Really?
This is what I understand from people.
Okay.
What is responsible for that, I don't know. But that, if we look into it, borders into some illegality, because you are buying a particular quantity. That quantity should not be reduced. So these are problems in the system. We should strive to build a fair and just society, a society in which every Gambian should have the opportunity to live and live a decent life. Mm-hmm. We should not leave the issue of a decent life to only those at the top. This is what we have today. The system is so skewed, is so organized to benefit mainly those at the top. And if every sector that you look at, everything is basically rigged. That's why I call the Gambian civil servants as the victims of the system, because it's only those at the top who benefit. The rest, they languish in poverty. This is all, it's very bad news. Yes. But that's why we are here. Sobeya is here. APP Sobeya is here. Because we want to change the system. We want the system to work for the Gambian people. We want the system to work for the ordinary folk. I mean, these people, they tell us that Gambian hospitals are better than hospitals in the West. Since they went to power, they've never visited Gambian hospitals. People are lying in hospital grounds.
And the budget caters for treatment overseas for them.
Yes, but also they have a system to assist Gambians to go abroad. But it's mainly reserved for party supporters. If you're not a party supporter, you are unlikely to benefit. In fact, a lot of people are told, your polling station did not work for you. Because if they would have lost, say, in a particular polling station, the people in that area are bound to suffer. They're not going to benefit from it. This is terrible. We should build a society that is equal, a society based on equality. There is no Gambian who is more deserving of development than the other Gambian. We are all equal. And that is why it is important to have a rule of law government, a government that bases decisions mainly on the law.
This government says it is a rule of law government.
But let's examine it. That is not the case. Recently, we've just had that this secular migration agreement we had with Spain, the job openings, some of them are being sold. That's what we had in the news.
That is true. That is
all
true.
right?
That is
But that is the tip of the iceberg. I have seen documents suggesting that, a particular political party can give you a position and you pay certain, how would I call it? You pay certain fees to that political party on a continuing basis. These things are illegal. But the mere fact that supporters of a particular political party are being favored against the rest of the Gambians is illegal discrimination.
Would you like to name that party?
You see, I don't like the habit of unnecessarily pointing fingers at particular named individuals. I don't like, but